Alright, what is going on, everybody? Here's this week's weekly Nightfall. It is the Disgraced. I am doing it on Master solo. This is a flawless run. As you can see, Lightning Crystals is on. We got Acute Arc Burn, Famine, and I just completed this on Grandmaster, but with a team on LFG. And this is the exact same loadout that I was using, with a couple of exceptions. Spark of Feedback. So on my GM run, I was using pulse grenades and Spark of Feedback. That's not what changed. It was all I changed was thruster dodge for towering barricade. Reason being, on Master difficulty with the Lightning Crystals modifier, you get your abilities back so fast that you don't need the short cooldown of thruster dodge to get your grenade back. You're just going to get it back no matter what. So you may as well spam towering barricades, give yourself a better defense. The only thing I changed other than that in my loadout, when I did this on Grandmaster, I was using Nezarec's Whisper, which is the Arc Glaive from this season, or from last season, sorry, Season of the Haunted. And I used it on Grandmaster because my teammates were using Arbalest, and so they had ways to take care of match game solar shields. And my Arc Glaive was fully crafted and enhanced with Demolitionist and Unstoppable Force, which synergizes really well with my Arc Titan build with spamming grenades. You know, and you never have to reload the thing. If you throw a grenade, it reloads because of Demolitionist. But now that I'm doing this solo on Master, I switched out Nezarec's Whisper for Lubrae's Ruin, which is the solar glaive from Vow of the Disciple. It's actually the first Vow of the Disciple weapon that I got crafted, and it's only level 2. So yeah, my perks on this are, I don't even know. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is I was leveling it up just by doing this content, and it was breaking the few solar shields in the game. But more importantly, the boss Navoda, she has a solar shield. So there's really nothing, unless I'm using Arbalest. You need a solar weapon to take her shield off efficiently, especially because she's a wizard. She's moving around all over the place. If you use something like adaptive munitions and take your shield down slowly, you will take it down faster than obviously not using Arbalest or a solar weapon or adaptive munitions. You'll take your shield down. I don't even remember where I was going with that, but adaptive munitions is too slow. She will end up, because she's a wizard, she'll take cover most likely where you won't have an angle on her, and then she'll regen her shield, and then you'll have to start ticking away at it again. So even though adaptive munitions is a great perk, it's good in certain scenarios, I didn't think it was very suitable for a boss like this. So I just went with a solar glaive, and it was one of my primary defense mechanisms as well, so I wasn't planning on using it to dish out that much damage during the strike. As you can see, I'm using Quicksilver Storm, which is the exotic assault rifle for pre-ordering Nightfall, and it does arc damage in the kinetic in your primary slot. So it is the only primary slot weapon that does arc damage intrinsically. It's the rockets. I think every 9 bullets or so, or I think it's every 12 bullets you get a rocket, but if you land crits, it's like every 9 bullets it fires a rocket, and that rocket is arc. So you could take out arc shields with Quicksilver Storm pretty fast. And actually, Quicksilver Storm almost acts like it has adaptive munitions when you're shooting non-matching shield types. Like, you'll notice that the rockets kind of chunk away at the shield way more effectively than most other weapons that are non-matching. And then you get that nice little benefit. You get grenades prepped every so often. I think your grenades get prepped more often if you land crits as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not super effective at using the grenades. You know, I don't get too fancy with it. I've seen some people use it very effectively, and they can get off a quick reload on the 3 grenades, but I'm not sure if I know how to do that. So anyway, I just use it here and there. I think I use it on an Unstoppable later because I'm not using any Unstoppable mods. And there's 2 Unstoppables in the boss room, and there's 1 Unstoppable in the pre-boss room where you first run across Navoda. And then other than that, I'm using Hothead. I got a whole bunch of these when it was dropping from Grandmaster. I think it was double loot. It was double loot week. Hothead was dropping. It was an easy Nightfall. I think it was Insight Terminus or something. So I had like 25 of these Adept Hotheads in my vault, and I just recently cleaned out like, I don't know, 15 of them. And I wanted, for this specifically, I wanted tracking module with lasting impression. And I know I had that roll, but I think I deleted it. So, go figure. Anyway, so on this one, I've got auto-loading holster and explosive light. So explosive light does do the most damage that you can get on this rocket launcher, but you have to collect orbs of power in order to stack it on your rocket launcher to get that damage buff. So I'm making orbs from kinetic siphon on my helmet piece. So Quicksilver Storm, any multi-kills I get with Quicksilver Storm, it'll drop orbs, and then I can stack that damage buff on my rocket launcher. Yeah, so, and then this is pretty easy Nightfall overall. So I did this on Grandmaster, like I said, right before this run, and I didn't die. I was flawless on it, and because I had the Glaive, I was the one rezzing my teammates. That's what I love about Glaive. I did this for Lightblade 2 on Grandmaster, just with a couple random people on LFG. You'll find most people aren't running the Glaive, and that's okay. Oftentimes you'll get like a Night Stalker, someone that can go invis and get the reses off. But yeah, having a Glaive gives you that utility of being able to res your teammates, block damage, you know, on any class, any subclass. So I love that about the Glaives. You know, and if your health gets critical and you're getting blasted, you can just pull your shield up. So basically, it's just about managing the energy on your Glaive. All you got to do is every now and then fire a few projectiles off. As long as you hit targets, you don't even have to kill them. It'll charge the Glaive up with energy. And you don't even need full energy. You just need a little bit of energy, and then that gives you a little bit of it shield duration. Obviously, the more energy you have, the longer you'll be able to hold your shield up. And I've heard that Lubrae's Ruin has the best perks available for shield duration, so I'm pretty excited to get this one leveled up and crafted just the way I want it. But in the meantime, it did just as good. Although, like I was saying, when I did this on Grandmaster, I was using Nezarec's Whisper, but same deal. The Glaives all work the same. You can hold as long as you got enough energy, you can hold that shield up. They all block the same amount of damage, something like 97% of damage. So you're basically invincible as long as you're, you know, angled in the right direction, you're not getting shot from the sides or behind, you're gonna essentially be immune to any incoming damage unless you're like 1 HP and splash damage gets you. Yeah, so Navoda, as she's a hive wizard, she'll blast you with arc, and because acute arc burn is on, I believe enemies do 50% more arc damage. The player, you get 25%, but the enemies get 50%, so it's important to know that. So because it is acute arc burn, I've doubled up on the thermoshock plating from the seasonal artifact, so I have a total of 40% arc resistance. Not only that, but I've got spark of resistance from the arc fragments, which gives you another bonus to damage resistance if enemies are close by. What else about the build? This wasn't too fancy of a build. I went with something, I believe this is essentially the same build I used for Lightblade Grandmaster. I just wanted on my headpiece a way to produce orbs. So in this case, I was using Kinetic Siphon, like I said. I was using, because Famine is on for the Master Nightfall, it means your ammo drops are going to be quite a bit less. So I was running rocket launcher ammo finders and rocket launcher scav on my legs. As well, with the orbs on the legs, I was running, I don't know what it's called, recuperation or something. Only costs 1 energy if you have a solar. If you have a solar mod available for your legs, you can put recuperation on, so when you pick up an orb of power, you get health regen. And on top of that, I was using the mod that charges you with light when you pick up an orb of power. So making orbs of power was, I try to get the most out of it that I can. I'm going to be making orbs so that I can get explosive light stacked up on Hothead. So why not use what other benefits I can out of those orbs of power? Yeah, orbs of power are going to recharge my super faster, which is great, but why not get some health while I'm at it? Why not get charged with light while I'm at it? So what am I doing with charged with light? Well, I'm running high energy fire, so I get a 20% damage bonus while I'm charged with light. That applies to any of my weapons. So once you get a kill with high energy fire, you lose 1 stack of charge with light. So you cycle through it pretty fast, but you'll notice that a lot of times I'm charged with light times 2. And it's not because I have to pick up 2 orbs of power, it's because I'm using elemental charge with elemental ordnance, so I'm producing arc elemental wells. When I pick one up, because the well matches my subclass, it gives me 2 stacks of charge with light. That's how elemental charge works. So for example, if I had a teammate producing void wells, and I went to pick up a void well, because it doesn't match my subclass, I would only get 1 stack of charge with light. And the same works for orbs of power across the board. So, and it was actually fairly easy to hold on to charge with light, I guess, because I'm spamming grenades. And you'll notice that I'm not using storm grenades. In my last Master Nightfall video, I didn't use storm grenades either. Yeah, I'm just getting kind of, it doesn't feel as much like it's as much of a challenge to use storm grenades. They're fun. I'll still use them plenty. I like using them. But I want to, like Touch of Thunder, the aspect for Striker, gives you insane grenade abilities to several grenades. So lightning grenades, pulse grenades, storm grenades. I think flashbangs as well. But I haven't played around too much with flashbangs, and I'm not even 100% sure if flashbangs are affected by Touch of Thunder, but pulse grenades are. So the difference between using storm grenades and using pulse grenades, well, obviously there's the, you know, how the grenade works is different. Storm grenades track enemies and continuously, you know, rain down thunder and lightning on them. Whereas pulse grenades are static. They will stay exactly where you drop them, and they'll do massive damage within their radius. But with Touch of Thunder, what's really nice about pulse grenades is that they periodically produce ionic traces. You'll see all those ionic traces coming to me. Well, normally without Touch of Thunder, that's not the case. The only way you're going to get ionic traces is if you use the fragment. I think it's Spark of Ions. So, because I'm using pulse grenades, I didn't have to use Spark of Ions. And because I'm using this silly haunted Halloween mask for my helmet, which I don't know why Bungie makes you wear these things. Like, if I want to do Festival of the Lost stuff, I gotta downgrade my armor. Anyway, not to rant on about that too much, but my armor isn't exactly where I wanted it to be. I was like tier 9 discipline because I'm running Spark of Shock, which gives you a -10 discipline stat, but it's too good to pass up. You need, like, the jolt effect is just way too good. So yeah, because I had this crappy helmet on, I thought, oh, why don't I just use pulse grenades? Then I'll intrinsically get ionic traces. Then I don't have to use Spark of Ions, which means I can buff my resilience because I'm running tier 10 resilience. So I'm using Spark of Feedback, which gives the plus 10 resilience, and it also increases your melee damage if you get attacked by an enemy via melee damage. So there you go. So Feedback gives you 10 resilience. So I was able to transfer one of my 10 resilience mods on my armor over to Discipline. So that way I was rocking tier 10 Discipline, tier 10 resilience. And yes, it doesn't really matter for doing this solo master with lightning crystals, because I mean, you can honestly run like tier 2 discipline probably, and you'll get your grenade back just as fast as you would if lightning crystals wasn't on and you had tier 10 discipline. That's how crazy lightning crystals is. But like I said, I just pretty much kept everything the same as it was on Grandmaster. So this is what I was using on Grandmaster, and these pulse grenades are actually really crazy. Like, you'll see how fast they take out these unstoppables on Master, but I can assure you on GM difficulty, the pulse grenades, like if you hit a barrier or an unstoppable dead on with it, like they just melt. I would say faster than storm grenades. You know, the nice thing about storm grenades is you can just kind of fire and forget, and you don't have to aim. You can shoot it around a corner and it'll track enemies. So storm grenades have a different utility overall, and in general they're probably more overpowered because of the forgiveness. But I think that Touch of Thunder pulse grenades are more deadly if they're placed properly. Yeah, I'm probably, and this strike in particular I felt was a good strike to use pulse grenades on as opposed to storm grenades. Both would have been good, but you can really funnel all the enemies into certain areas. Like, for example, if you go to this platform in the boss room, it's kind of like one of my safe havens that I go to. The enemies aren't going to jump up from the side or the back. They're only going to come down that ramp, which means that you just got to place one pulse grenade there and it takes care of everything. And then tracking, like a storm grenade tracking the boss would have been better overall probably. But you'll notice every time I stun Navoda, so as soon as I break her shield with Lubrae's Ruin, she staggers for a second, and that gives you the opportunity to land a pulse grenade right underneath her. And then I try to follow up with a rocket, and then that deals a big chunk. So here's the first unstoppable. So it took me a little while here. I wanted to clear this. This is what I love about spamming tower and barricades on lightning crystals. You can literally put up a shield bubble, like a void bubble. You know, you don't get weapons of light, but you can put a complete circle around you within like 10 seconds if you really wanted to spam them. But you know, it's blocking off all the angles that I needed to here. And it does slow enemies down. Like, I think you'll notice I did at one point put a barricade in the door where the knights spawn from. That way when they spawn, they get stuck in your barricade, it slows them down and they're blinded. So it's also a good strategy for the last phase of this boss fight up on the ramp, where Navoda normally spawns after each phase. That's where I spend the last phase of this boss fight, is on the ramp where she would normally be, because for that last phase she goes down to the bottom. But when I get up there, all the Thrall and the Cursed Thrall are going to be coming up from the bottom, and they're going to go up the stairs. So I try to place a barricade at the top of the stairs so that when they do get up there, they'll be slowed by my barricade. That way it kind of gives me some leeway to focus the bigger targets, like the boss. There'll be some arc shielded knights, so I can focus damage on those guys and not have to worry as much about the Thrall coming up the stairs, because by the time they go through my barricade, they'll be slowed and it'll give me time to see them. Without a barricade, you really have to be a little bit more vigilant with the Thrall coming up the stairs, because they come up in packs, and I mean, if one Cursed Thrall explodes on you, that's pretty much end game right there. Plus usually they're in groups, like I said, so if one goes off, multiple go off, you're dead. So you got to be careful not to get stuck in her poison cloud. That's why I wasn't really thunder crashing her, and I probably would have used, like, Fist of Havoc would have been good in this too, especially for the barrier servitors at the beginning, because they tend to tether all the enemies. So a super will, something like a roaming super like Fist of Havoc will, you know, take care of all the tethered enemies. So I mean, Thunder Crash was not like not a main part of you know, a successful completion. It was just kind of whatever. Like, I didn't even really pay much attention to it. But I did notice, like, no, I'm gonna try to avoid Thunder Crashing Navoda, because if you get stuck on her and she throws a poison cloud down, you're basically stuck in molasses for like 3 seconds, and then she'll just blast you with arc damage, and like, she can kill you in 1 or 2 seconds if you're right in her blast. So you'll notice I kind of because I don't have a ranged weapon to take care of her shield, because I'm using the Glaive, I kind of get up to the platform where she's at, stay underneath it, and go back and forth. You know, take a shot at her, she'll stagger, throw a pulse grenade under her, and then try and land a rocket or two, and then break her shield again, and just kind of repeat that as necessary. The only time I considered using a super on her was at the end, and you'll see I almost failed. I should have got her health quite a bit lower before I launched Thunder Crash on her. Almost died. I mean, I don't think I got critical or anything, but it was a risky play. because it wasn't an outright kill on her. I was sure that in no time I was going to be stuck in her poison cloud, and there were still ads up, so it was definitely a risky move, but it ended up working out. And I will say, doing this on Grandmaster first, even though I was doing it in a team, made soloing this on Master like 10 times easier. This was my first try. Normally on my solo flawless stuff, like, very few of them all complete flawless first time. Like, some of them take me a few days of gaming sessions to get, you know, so it's like I could spend like 3-4 hours trying to flawless something, even on Master or Legend, when I'm at power. Because yeah, the game is a lot easier when you're at power, but it is still easy to die if you're not playing correctly. You know, it just takes one little slip up, or, you know, a stupid mistake, or a game breaking glitch, because there are those, and that can ruin it for you. But yeah, because I did this on GM, and like I said, I didn't even die on Grandmaster. It was fresh on my mind, muscle memory. You know, I remembered where all the champions spawned and everything like that. So I just went straight into Master, and then boom, got it done. So you can see here, it's super tempting to just go all out, finish her off, but she's still pretty tanky, and you got to make sure her shield is down before you even think about doing chunk damage on her, because her shield will just absorb everything. So you try to use the Glaive from far, throw some pulse grenades, and then here's my way too risky play. And I did get stuck in her poison cloud, but I was lucky enough that she was still staggered. I think she was jolted by my pulse grenades still, and the aftershock of Thunder Crash, that I was able to get away. But you saw how many Thrall were around me at that point. Like, it could have easily been over if I had not moved out of there half second, or if I had moved out of there half second late. Yeah, just when you think it's over and she's got almost no health, there's still a ton of things that can kill you. First Thrall, the Knights, but now she's dead. They've despawned, and that is the run. So hopefully y'all enjoyed. I'll be doing the ritual in a couple days. It's a good 45-minute campaign mission, but it should be pretty fun. I'll see what I'm going to do for the build. Anyways, like and subscribe if you want. Comment. I'm happy to see what you say. Thanks.